Hi, I'm Vinny.
And I'm Reese.
And welcome to
The Crunch.
Today we will be interviewing a good friend of ours named Eric on his trip to boot camp. Eric does military training in the summer. He went to boot camp.
So boot camp is otherwise known as recruit training with the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps. It's also known as USNSCC. And every second weekend of the month, we go to the Northport VA and we do drills such as marching, we do class, and we also have advanced trainings. There's lots of different advanced trainings opportunities. You can learn as far as shooting a gun to cooking food, but the requirement is that you have to go to something called boot camp, which is where you go 2 weeks. There's two different places you can go. There's Fort Devens, which is in Rhode Island, but I went to Pennsylvania, and I went to Fort Inge and Town Gap. And there I learned everything that you would need to be part of the program. I learned I learned 3 basic knots. I learned how to clean, and I learned how to be part of a team.
Cool.
So,
how was the food? Was it similar to the food in the cafeteria or better?
I actually found the food to be really good. This year it seemed that the food was a lot better because they actually had people learning how to make the food, so they would make a relatively good food. They did a lot. What they did a lot is they would reuse the food. So like we would have potatoes for dinner, but then in the morning we would have morning potatoes. That was not one of my most fond dishes. But we would have a choice of different cereals. We would have fruit, all healthy foods, with the exception of one day on the 4th of July having a bag of chips and hot dogs and all that because it was the 4th of July.
Very cool, Eric. So, Eric, at boot camp, did you meet any friends?
I did meet a lot of friends. For 2 weeks, I met people that from all across America, mostly the East Coast, and mostly from Maryland, actually. I didn't know anybody in boot camp going into there, which made it a really weird experience to go into this really unfamiliar place and meet all these new people. But it's kind of like a family there. Like, there's some people that you don't like, there's some people that you do like, but you gotta learn how to just work as a team and work together to get your goal accomplished.
How many instructors are there?
So we have 2 different types of instructors. We have the adult instructors, which are known as the officers, and we have the cadets. And we have the cadets known as enlisted in the Sea Cadets. So the cadets would be like our RDCs, and they would be our petty officers. Those would be the people that are kind of supervise over us, give us orders, all that. And the officers are the adults in the program that volunteer for the program and have their own time. And they would be the people in charge of the cadets. So they would tell our petty officers what to do. They would tell the chiefs what to do. And there's a whole chain of command for the officers and the whole chain of command for enlisted. But what's important to know is that my petty officers were in charge of me, and the chief was in charge of the petty officer.
So, Eric, were there any time for leisure activities like chilling out?
Chillaxing.
There was a few times for leisure activities, but most of the time we either had to clean or study.
So, Eric, what was the worst experience that you've ever had at boot camp?
Well, the worst experiences had to be the amount of cleaning that I had to do. It kind of just, every single day there's always cleaning, and it kind of just got very repetitive doing the same thing, but I knew that it was something that I had to do because it made me and my shipmates look good in front of the officers, and it really should getting the goal that we needed to achieve. So even though that I didn't like cleaning so much, it was kind of satisfying to see the whole barracks clean. And sometimes we would change it up. Sometimes it would be broomed, sometimes it would be mopped. We didn't have one set job that we had to do.
All right, that's cool.
Is boot camp as horrible as people make it out to be?
I wouldn't call it really horrible. I would say that it's a really good experience, but it's just very different from what you're normal and used to. So you kind of just have to be used to having that used to being in like an uncomfortable situation like that. So but I really did enjoy the experience, and I would like to and if I could, I would do it again.
So, Eric, out of all your experiences that you have had, what did you learn?
Oh, most of the time was spent in class, and we did learn like fire safety, we learned first aid, we learned general naval information, like we learned the different ranks, and we learned how to salute, when to salute, and we learned stuff about our uniforms, how our uniforms should be worn, and we have this whole big notebook, and in it we take down all the notes of the classes, and we do have a couple of tests. But it was generally very interesting information.
Okay, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Eric, for joining us, and I hope that you move up the rankings in boot camp soon. Overall, I would say I would survive boot camp, but I don't think Vinny would.
Yes, Reese, you're correct. And that's all the time that we got on the crunch today.
I'm Reese.
And I'm Vinny, and that was the
The
crunch.
Crunch.